Today I want to look at audience targeting in Liferay. Audience targeting is a free plugin that's available for Liferay 6.2, either the Enterprise or the Community Edition, and it's available in Liferay Set, Liferay DXP Enterprise Edition. I've not seen it available for the Community Edition. I don't know if that's going to come in the future. So let's have a look at what it offers us. And basically it's an application that you'll download from the Liferay marketplace and install, copy into your deploy directory, and it will get installed. You need to have a patch version of Liferay if you've downloaded the default version and not patched it yet. So pay particular attention to the actual version of Liferay that you're using and what your patch level is before you install it. And it basically provides you an audiencing engine. It enables audience targeting in the asset publisher portlet, and it provides 3 new portlets: user segment content list, which is basically the same as asset publisher, but it's always audienced. You've got user segment content display, which displays a single audienced asset, and campaign content display, which is like user segment content display, but you can set time limits. You can set a start and end date. So for example, you might be doing an autumn campaign and you want that to start in on the 1st of September, and you want it to start finish after 30 days. You can set that up with the campaign. So if we log in to Liferay, we'll have a look at how we use all of that. And if I go to my website, you'll find under configuration that you've now got an audience targeting configuration, and I've already set up a number of rules. Chrome users, these are users who are logged onto the site who are using the Chrome web browser. Go-getters, I've decided, are 20 to 40-year-old male users. IUT, that came from the Experian marketing firm. It means individual urban trend. It's basically female, upmarket female users aged between 18 to 35. In order to evaluate these kind of attributes, when the person registered, they'll have had to have entered the correct information, and they'll have to be logged onto the site. Not everything needs you to be logged onto the site though. For example, location, that can be picked up from an IP address. And I've created another couple of user segments, Aruba and HPI. If we have a quick look at HPI, it's basically configured to say that to evaluate to users who are members of the Hewlett-Packard organization and for some reason are using Firefox. And here you see the different, there are about 50 default rules available, and you can also write custom rules. So you see behavioral rules, content visited, pages visited, previously visited sites, session attributes, the time that you're actually accessing the content, browser, you're using Safari, Android, Firefox, whatever, kind of device you're on, whether it's a mobile, computer, tablet. IP range gives an idea about location. What language your browser is configured to use: English, French, Chinese, Indian. When you're logged in, you might show special content to people who've not visited the site for a while, or you might use that if people are visiting the site frequently to update the kind of content you're showing them more frequently. Sign up date, so maybe for people who've been signed up on the site for a certain amount of time, you might show them special promotions. And then various other attributes that come from the person registered on the site: what role, what organization they're a member of. We saw that already with Aruba and with HP. Whether they're actually a site member, what their site role is, user groups they're members of. So that could be things like interests, so you can show content that's targeted towards their interests. And you can even reach out and get information if you're using things like Facebook single sign-on from their Facebook profile. So how do we use all that? It's very simple. Whenever you create a content, so if we have a look at web content here, add a couple of pieces of content. Whenever you create a content, you can select 0 or more user segments to target. So if we look at this HP content I created earlier, I'm targeting the HPI user segment. That's basically people who are members of the Hewlett-Packard organization and who use the Firefox browser. Other web content, here's another one. Information about some work that Aruba's doing with schools in Australia, and this is targeted towards our Aruba segment. This is people, in fact it's actually they're all set up to be females, women who are aged between females, women who are members of the Aruba organization. And you can target other things, wikis, etc. Documents, PDFs, JPEGs on the carousel. I've got some images that are targeted. So here, for example, I'm targeting the IUT user segment, which are women aged between 18 and 35, sorry. And if I go back, these images here are targeted to the HPI user segment. As I say, you can select no user segments, or you can select one or many user segments, so different content can be shown to different user segments, and a user coming to the site can be a member of different user segments. So we'll take a look at that under users. If we look at Anna, female, she's born 1992, member of the Aruba organization, born 1992, so 25 years old. So Anna matches two user segments. She matches the Aruba user segment and she matches the IUT user segment. So what does that give us if we go back and impersonate Anna? Here's the targeted page, and we see that Anna is being shown this content, which is about the Aruba partnership with schools in Australia, which was targeted towards the Aruba user segment. On the carousel, we've got a nice little carousel, and she's seeing these images, which, if you remember, were targeted towards the IUT user segment. And to show the difference, if we impersonate a different user, in this case, let's have a look at Mick. Mick, he was a member, I don't know if you saw that, of the HP organization. So here, he's seen this article about the HP MV printer that was targeted towards HPI, and under the carousel, he's seeing different images. So it's exactly the same page, the same asset publisher, but different content that's targeted towards users based on attributes and behaviors. So a little a recap of that. Behavior, stuff like content page, site, score, session attributes, languages, location, browser, user attributes, age, gender, organization, and social. And you can also create custom rules if you have particular requirements, which a lot of people will have. And if we go back just to quickly show you what that means, go back into the configuration, and if we look at something like this rule, a rule has a optional configuration user interface. So in this case, the rule is the age rule, and with the user interface of these two fields, older than and younger than. So this can be as complex as you like, and it has a method to evaluate the rule based on user attributes and user behavior. So this information is passed to your method, user information is passed to your method runs some logic to see whether the user matches this rule based on the attributes that have been configured. and got a little slide which shows the basic data structures involved. These are the three portlets. User segment content list is a audience version of the asset publisher. You can also use the asset publisher with audiencing turned on. User segment content displays like the web content display but audience shows a single asset, and a campaign shows assets based on a start and end time. So it's a user segment with a start and end time. So users visiting the site are matched against user segments, see which user segments they match up to, and then assets are selected based on that as a filter. It's all implemented using the Elasticsearch or Solar search engine, so it's a very quick process. It's very quick to filter this. So just to conclude, you select content based on user metadata. A user segment is a collection of users and rules. Rules match behaviors and attributes of users, and a user can match 0 or more user segments, and content can be associated with 0 or more user segments, and the campaign is a user segment with a start and end date.